Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, a live mailbag from our Monday show answering all of your questions and or super chats as they flow in on our very fun and sometimes a bit rambunctious live show. There is a super thanks that I want to hit here to begin from Just Jude. Hey, Tom, what's your opinion on drafting players born in Texas? My friend, there's a lot of good players from Texas. There's a lot of good players in general from Texas, California, Florida, I think Georgia, Ohio, sometimes New York in that next tier. Alabama sometimes too. Thanks for that, Jeremy. I wish you guys had heard that. That is more of a volume thing than it is like you want to draft a player because they're from that high school or because they're from or not from that college. NFL teams don't really value that. It just tends to be, you know what, the weather's great. They can play football, play sports more time around. There's more volume in general, more people there, and it leads to better prospects. And, you know, Texas does love their football, but you're not going to draft someone just because they were from that state. But it is true that a lot of good players from Texas. So, super thanks, by the way. I'll answer your question or give you a shout out, whatever it is. Click the little $ with the heart icon around it. You can edit your message. Any super thanks is a shout out, so appreciate that, those of you who do it. Kyle Donovan says $10. Thank you, Kyle, for the super chat. Tom is the man. Jeremy is awesome. Ignore the trolls, Jeremy. You rule, brother. I think you just made Chugg's day. You seem very happy today, all of a sudden. Your mood just flipped from like, my hand hurts to, yay, I'm having fun with life. So thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. Cheers to you, my friend. Big ups. Chris B, $2 super chat. I trade our second for a player. Our seconds have not been good. Bossman Fat, significant miss. Sam Williams has shown really good promise. Only been a year, of course. Trayvon Diggs worked. The Cowboys, when they've gambled, have often been in round 2. Tristan Hill, Jalen Smith, Randy Gregory, Gavin Escobar. There have been plenty of misses there. I would not trade a pick just because the past ones have been bad. But it is something I think you should have a discussion about in your war room of like, okay, remove the second. Maybe the class doesn't fit great with the guys that you think are going to be there. Roberto Polp, coolest draft names, Notre Dame's linebacker Stonebreaker, and Auburn running back Cadillac Williams, who producer Patrick didn't know about. You know Cadillac Williams, right? Okay, thank God, Jeremy. Yes, the running back. Carnell was his first name, but he went by Cadillac. Wasn't good the way I thought he was going to be in the NFL. Auburn. Penn State center Juice Scruggs. Pick and move our center to left guard. I don't think Tyler Biadasz can play guard. I think if you're taking a lineman in the draft, now maybe you wait a year and make Scruggs your backup and then replace him. I don't think Biadasz is going to make the move to left guard in the end. From Duncan at 39, I think Bryan Bresee is going to be a bust. Who are your lineman ranks? We will have my official big board the week of the draft, so I'm not there yet in terms of like stacking players. Got a lot of second round grades at DT beyond Jalen Carter in no particular order. Just Bresee, Mozzie Smith, Kalijah Cansey, Siaki Ika, Keanu Benson are in that range for me. At a time, Adibare, probably drawing a blank on somebody too, but not in round 1. Round 2? Different conversation. Christian Tate. With the Eagles overpaying Hurts, will the Cowboys do the same with Dak? I think if you asked an Eagles fan, they might have said, like, with the Cowboys overpaying Dak, will they do the same with Philadelphia? I would push back a little bit on this idea of it being an overpay. I know there's sticker shock for all of these quarterback contracts. $50 million, which the cap jumped by about 30 the past 2 years. So I think in an ideal world, can Dak sign for like 47? Like, that's several $1 million left and wouldn't be top 5 quarterback money once the year began. Because Hurts and Rodgers and Wilson and Herbert and Burrow are all going to surpass him. But I can't create an argument outside of Dak took less that doesn't pay Dak Prescott more than Kyler Murray. Or Deshaun Watson. Like, the Mahomes deal, toss it out the window. It's exempt from it all, and Josh Allen is too far away from a new contract to make that a fair comparison. So it's going to be expensive. What's the most to pay Dak Prescott per year? It's the pinned comment on today's show, so if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. From Mark, $5. Thank you, Mark. Super chat. If Carter starts dropping, at what place would we seriously try to move up and get him? What would the cost be? DT is such a need. He's only taking if it's in the top 10, allegedly. Now, maybe there was an unreported one. It could be a trade-up candidate. They want to leak it, whatever. 11, moving from 26 to 11 with Tennessee, would cost you a first, a second, and a third. That's a lot of money. Or draft capital, I should say, to go get him. If he falls to 16, 17, it's cheaper, but that means everyone who had interest passed on him, or running the firms passed on him. That kind of scares me even more. Jeremy chugs his burner. Dream draft for the Eagles. For Jeremy as a fan, Tom as a hater. Are we on board with Jalen Carter, Brian Branch, round 1, second round 1 pick?
I would love that. I would love that.
And I would hate that.
I think or if you could somehow get one of the top corners at 10. If Christian Gonzalez or Devin Witherspoon falls, I wouldn't mind that. And then going BPA at 30, maybe if one of the best guards, Osiris Torrance, falls, I wouldn't hate that combination. I just hope they don't reach. I hope they get BPA at both those positions, even though they need help on the defensive side. They've lost some pieces. I would go BPA because how often do you have 2 first-round picks?
Not often. I wouldn't be shocked if they traded one either, because that's how the Eagles like to do business, which is smart, by the way. Trade down from 10 and get a future 1. Wouldn't that just do it all over again? All right, Super Chat time from Davion Daniels. Does Darnell Washington fall to us in the second round? I don't think so, but the tight end class in general might get pushed down because it's so good. Like teams like, we can wait a round or a half round, whatever. And if Dallas doesn't take one in round 1, well, that eliminates one of the possible destinations. So I would be surprised if he didn't go top 50. And if you don't go tight end round 1, he's there in the 50s and the early 40s. I might move up for him. To Lunatic, do we double dip on offensive line or defensive line? Now, if you group defensive tackle and defensive end as defensive line, maybe on that front. If you group it up by defensive tackle and edge as 2 different spots, probably not. If I had to guess one position, though, I think offensive line makes the most sense because that's just important position, right? Now, the Cowboys' official NFL draft hats are now available. The same ones the players will be wearing if they are present at the draft in Kansas City this year. Right? No, it was last year. Kansas City? Kansas City. I got it right. Look at me go. Not be stupid for once. Chatsports.com/Cowboys draft. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. They've got the kind of stone color, different brim, sizes, adjustments, etc. The rounded, the more flat bills there from that standpoint. And I think the all navy one looks, this upcoming one here, this one looks awesome on the hat. I think that's the best style that they've got. So get yours today. Chatsports.com/Cowboys draft. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. Let's go to a super chat. Roberto Pole again. Thank you, Roberto. Is it Pole? Paul? However you pronounce it. I'm not sure, Roberto. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong this whole time. Eagles blew it paying John Cougar Hurts so good money. I appreciate the pun, Roberto Pole. All I know is I would be a little bit cautious over making fun of a team playing the NFC East quarterback. Because especially if you are a Giants or Commanders fan, Eagles have had some success, so maybe they feel a little bit better. They were excited Dak got paid, and then he's cooked them the entire time in his career. So I'd be a little bit cautious there. Daniel Moriarty. If the Cowboys don't like who they want at 26, they trade that pick for D-Hop or a stud DT like Quinnen Williams. I'm not moving 26 for Hopkins. That's way too much. He has not had much of a market so far. So no. If I could get Quinnen Williams right now for the 26 overall pick, let's ride. I would be all for that. I don't foresee the Jets actually doing that, but it would be a really, really great addition for Dallas. We had advocated for Williams 2 years ago at the deadline. Didn't come to fruition, was always unlikely, but I would have loved him in Dallas. Bradley George 1, why are so many mocking Michael Mayer to Dallas? The general draft community sees they lost Dalton Schultz and goes, okay, well, Peyton Hendershot, Jake Ferguson, and Sean McEwen didn't put up much production. So they probably view it as a bigger need than Dallas views it as like, if we can upgrade, let's do it. I also wouldn't assume that Hendershot, or Fergshot as we're calling them now, is a guaranteed superstar grouping. Like that's kind of game a lot there. You can get an upgrade there. And Michael Mayer is a really good player who's going to go in round 1, and they're trying to find that slot. I would be on board with Michael Mayer in round 1. I think he's an awesome football player. He's not just a pure inline guy that moves around a lot. I think he'd be a fun fit in Dallas. I'd be all aboard that pick. But I do understand the general concerns of do we want to take a tight end in round 1? Who's the last one that was great for their team that drafted him? It's a fair concern. So would you take one? Y for yes, N for no. Ecuador man AOG, Hurts is overpaid, so is Dak. Simple logic. That's the quarterback market, though. If everyone's paying the market, is it really being overpaid? I think that's just the payment cost of everything. Now, you might not like what the market is, and that's understandable because it's a lot of sticker shock money, but I think we've kind of seen with the way the contracts have gone, $40 million is not that much for a quarterback. Now it's $50 million. It's just how it works now because the cap skyrockets. From Vince, as much as Bijan is linked to the Cowboys, it's safe to say he will not end up in Dallas, just like Jourdan, Horn, and the interior offensive lineman last year. I had really thought one of Jourdan or Horn would be there. I would argue, wouldn't the Panthers and Bears have been better off taking Justin Fields like they should have? They wouldn't have been good of all these assets to go get a different quarterback, Russell Wilson or now moving up for Stroud/Young, whoever it ends up being, probably Young. But those guys were gone. The interior O-linemen were off the board. So I don't think Bijan gets there. I think Falcons, Dark Horse Patriots, the Commanders, I think one of those teams are going to take Bijan this year. Now, if you want to join our award-winning mailbags, awards from my mom, make sure you guys are subscribed at youtube.com/@CowboysTV. Free videos every single day, frequently, multiple times per day. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now. Jeremy Chugs' burner account's back again. Super chat. Bijan, Sanders, and Stevenson are my dream 1, 2, 3. Where they'll eventually, once I stack it, I've got the grades. I haven't done the stacking yet. Those guys will be above where you would have gotten them. So I'd be on board with that front. But I would worry about, okay, what's your plan at guard? What's your plan at guard on that front? Jeremy Chugs' burner. Bijan, we got ahead of ourselves there. Daniel, excuse me. I just jumped ahead for no reason. Jourdan Lewis trade. I'm not sure. I don't know. I could see a scenario where in late day 3, maybe if you go corner early, I think teams are scared coming off the injury, so I wouldn't bank on Jourdan Lewis setting themselves up for that type of scenario where they guarantee it ends up being a trade value chip. They might just keep him for now because cornerback depth, we saw it last year, they needed it. Now, when it comes to trades in general, name a player who you want to trade for. Maybe you move Lewis for a player. Have some fun within reason in the comment section to go trade for a player. Joseph Candelaria, hear about Ceedee Lamb extension. Where things sit currently is Dallas wants to get it done. It's not a priority with the draft just around the corner. They'll pick up his 5th-year option, so nothing really new on that front there. I think this will get done before the season begins, though. I'm pretty confident in that one. Roger, how about Mayer, then Tank Dell, the wide receiver, and Tank Bigsby, the running back? Then we got 3 tanks. That's clever. Tank Dell, receiver from Houston. Tank Bigsby, running back from Auburn there. That might be a bit confusing to have 3 different tanks, 2 of them on offense, but it'd be pretty fun. Mighty Ant 0215, $5 super chat. If Paris Johnson, the OT from Ohio State, I always forget to mention the player, school, and position, slides, would you trade up? Depends how far. I think the issue here is you're going to get a tackle-needy team that might not view like Peter Skoronski as a tackle, will view Paris Johnson as one, and there's enough tackle-needy teams in the teens that he shouldn't get to 15. Now, if he's there at like 17, 18, 20, maybe it makes some more sense, but like Pittsburgh at 17, I think they're going to take him. So, and I don't think he's worth giving up a 1st and a 2nd to go up and get him, so I'd probably have to wait a little bit more for him to slide. Joshua Ramsey, he's playing out Hurts, the highest paid quarterback ever. Didn't Mahomes get $500 million? it's not the highest paid number here is not like total money potentially earned. It's just the average per year number. That's the number that's being referred to as the highest ever, because Hurts is getting $51 million per year and some change. So it's more on a per year basis than what Mahomes gets. The total potential contract value still favors Mahomes, although might not stay that way forever. That might change at some. It's more like $400. It's up to $500 million. So that might change at some point in the near future, though, with the Burrow deal coming up here. If I didn't get to your question, hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney, because my DMs are open for that exact reason.